Welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. Well, we got some rituals to talk about, but first, I'm sending you all love. Hope you're having an incredible week so far. In today's video, I'm going to share a Gematria decode that connects two important number sequences we've been talking about in my past couple of videos with recent events that just reek of predictive programming. This decode I'm about to share with you will really add more weight to the importance of the end of this Shemitah and the next lunar eclipse in November. And actually, I just released a new technical analysis tutorial video on Patreon for the Wyckoff method, specifically for this Shemitah cycle, and how I'm utilizing different Wyckoff schematics to determine where we are in this cycle and what's to come for this crypto market later in this year. And that video is available now for the Mastermind community over on patreon.com/watersabove. This is probably my best tutorial lesson to date. This video is around 40 minutes long and packed with very comprehensive and easy to understand information. I made sure that it was beginner friendly as well for those that are new to my work or new to crypto in general. So, of course, I'll be getting into the charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP to wrap up this video as well. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria Numerology and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious beings to help grow our community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. The link to my website can be found in the description box of this video and in the pinned comment below for access to the Mastermind course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So, most of you are probably well aware about this ritual that just happened. So, the Georgia Guidestones just had a little boom boom, and I believe that most of you out there are savvy enough to know to not get too excited about when things like this happen because it is so much deeper than what appears on the surface. So, if anything, you guys should remember my last video that I put out where I talked about the date of July 6th. And the reasoning behind that date of July 6th was because of its connection to actually this end of Shemitah. So you can see right there from July 6th up till Rosh Hashanah in 2022 being 2 months and 20 days. That's the 2-2, the 22, or the master builder, the master destroyer number. So yesterday, on the 6th of July at 4 a.m., we actually had this explosion of the fourth wall on the Georgia Guidestones. And if you guys are completely unaware of what the Georgia Guidestones are, that's fine. You could go ahead and learn a little bit about it over on the Wikipedia page. It's pretty interesting. It actually has a set of commandments on it, and you could see the first one is to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. So essentially what this adds up to for the conspiracy theorists out there and the truthers, and I'm not trying to poke fun at anyone, but it just is what it is. This whole thing has been received as sort of a eugenics protocol, and well, that's life, right? But furthermore, I'm just interested in the ritual of it, the dates and the timing and everything else. So that's what we're going to get into in today's video. We're not really going to talk too much more about it because there's plenty of information out there about the Georgia Guidestones that you guys can learn about, even full-blown documentaries. So with that being said, this date also had another big connection that I shared with you in my last video, which was the fact that it's the 187th day of the year. Now, the 187, that's the murder code or the kill code. And I brought this up in my last video, how that combination of the 22, the 2 months and 20 days until the end of Shemitah, plus the 187, that was something to consider. And as we see, it was definitely ritualized. And this is like a conspiracy theorist's wet dream, the Georgia Guidestones. So it's been something that I've actually even made a video about in the past because there was an event that happened with it sometime last year. But this is definitely interesting how this happened at this time. And I believe it is for a reason. So we're going to be breaking this down a little bit deeper today. And getting back to that 22, I just want to show you one more thing, how this is in a place called Elbert County, Georgia. So I'm just going to show you on the Gematria calculator what that adds up to. So Elbert County, Georgia gives you the 222. Well, just like we're in the year of the 222. And another big connection on this is that 69 in Chaldean, the 69 and 96. And we've been talking about that number specifically a lot lately. Going back to Elon, of course, this is Elbert, L as in Saturn, just like Elon. And this 69 number has been showing up in all of my past videos. We know Bitcoin's all-time high is $69,000, and we've been, discussing this ad nauseum lately, so I don't really need to get into that. Just watch my last couple videos, and you probably hear me talking a lot about this number and the number 911 and 119. And we actually made a video really recently talking about the 711 and 117, and we have so much more to talk about in the future regarding that. But for today's video, I wanted to stick to this incredible connection right here, just with that 222, and this place being in Elbert County, Georgia. And that, again, that's 69, and we know that's in Saturn as well right there. So that 222 is important, okay, because it's been the theme of this entire year since we've entered this year of 222. But where this gets deeper is there's a fours theme that I want to share with you, the number 4 and how it keeps coming up in this. Of course, the 2 plus 2 equals 4, but this is going to get pretty interesting. So somebody sent this to me recently, this episode 8 of Stranger Things, season 4, this newest episode, and I just threw this together really quickly. I did put a filter on it just for the sake of, no copyright stuff, but what happened in this episode at the 24-minute mark, remember that number 24, coming back to the zodiac logo of Jupiter. But in this show, this character says it always chimes 4 times, and she's talking about a character named Vecna, and I believe this connection of Vecna comes back to Vatica, which comes back to Vatican, and you could take it from there. But essentially, she says it always chimes 4 times, and then this chap responds saying 4 gates, 4 kills, and it's in season 4 of Stranger Things. It's this number 4 keeps coming up quite a bit. And the Georgia Guidestones has 6 stones, but it has 4 walls, and the 4th wall was taken down in this explosion. So I'm wondering how this is all going to tie into itself, because we know that the show Stranger Things was giving a lot of predictive programming with CERN and opening portals and different timelines, and how the main character is 11. Her name is Elle, just like I was telling you before about Elbert County, Georgia, and how this event happened with the Georgia Guidestones. Of course, all coming back to Saturn. And we see right there the opening date. I mean, March 22nd, the 322, the skull and bones number. And the skull and bones is a sign of death. And death is the Grim Reaper, and the Grim Reaper is Saturn, right? So it's pretty amazing how this is all tying in, but specifically this 4 theme that's coming up with Stranger Things. And I believe that they're giving us some predictive programming. So coming back to this tab right here, we can see that the wall that was destroyed was actually the Swahili and Hindi language slab. So these commandments are written in multiple languages, but the slab that actually got destroyed was the one with the Swahili language and the Hindi language. Now, are they telling us what the next ritual is going to be? Is it going to be in Tanzania or Kenya, Rwanda, or maybe India? And remember, the population of India is massive. If you were to take the population of India and have an event, I mean, you get close to this number, you'd start getting closer to these numbers than ever imagined. So I'm not here to influence anyone with any fear. You guys know me, you know my energy. I always try to keep things very high vibe and no fear here on this channel whatsoever. But we need to take these events and kind of look at them from a different angle, as opposed to the average person out there who's aware of the Georgia Guidestones is looking at this event like a positive thing, like this bombing was a sign that the good guys are winning. I ask you to think twice about what's really going on here. You need to remember, they build and they destroy their own temples. The same people who blew this thing up are the same people that put it up, are the same people that wrote these out. This is their game. It is a controlled demolition, just like they did with 9/11. Do not think for 1 second that there's some sort of, benevolent quality to any of this. It is always going to be something deeper. So, getting back to the theme of the number 4, we know that this happened at 4 a.m., and that's Eastern Standard Time, and that matters a lot because Eastern Standard Time is where we have Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. is part of that Holy Trinity I talk about, the City of London and the Vatican. So, getting a little bit deeper in this, I'm not surprised that this happened 2 days after the 4th of July because it's all about those twos. We have 2 days after the 4th of July, we have this explosion, which leads to 2 months and 20 days till the end of the Shemitah, the Rosh Hashanah. So this 4, we could turn back to Georgia, and we got that connection as well. Right there, Georgia giving us 44 in the full reduction cipher. And what else do we get in the Chaldean? That 22. Just like we're in the Hebrew year of the 5782, the 22, the year of the Shemitah. So I'm definitely interested in why that 4th wall, the one that had the Swahili and Hindi languages on it, why that one went specifically. But I believe it was all about destroying the 4th gate or the 4th portal, this 4 gates. I think they're showing us something, and it's always deeper. So I would love to know what you guys think, because we know that this is ritual. We know that the opening date of this being on March 22nd, the 322, was ritual. We know that it happening 2 days after the 4th of July in the year 222 in Pluto's return, United States Pluto's return, happening in this year on the date of 222, all tied together. So even Georgia Guidestones itself has the 200. You can see that right there. And you remove the zeros in the rules of numerology and you get back to that 2. This is all about twos. And that 22 is the master builder, the master destroyer. It was built on the 22nd day of the year because March is the true first month in the year. It was built on the 22nd day of the year, and it was taken down accordingly. This was all tied to a ritual. So one of the things that I want to get to as well is how all of this destroying walls and all of that, it kind of made me think about the Berlin Wall. And this is where this decode gets even more ridiculous. So if you type in Berlin Wall, you get this article that says the fall of the Berlin Wall. And you see what date this happened on? It happened on the 9th of November. 9/11. How interesting is that the wall fell on 9/11? Is that a coincidence? No. Or I'll let you decide. But I do think it's very interesting how this event happened on that 9/11, and we've been talking a lot about this event lately, this 9/11 and 11/9, because we're about to have the 21st anniversary of 9/11. That 21 again coming back to Saturn with that 21 in multiple ciphers. So to have fun, and you guys know I rarely do this. I rarely take sentences or lots of words and type them into a Gematria calculator. That's not the way Gematria is done. That starts to confuse things and gets convoluted, and you don't really know what you're doing at that point. But one of the connections to be made here is just taking this article title, The Fall of the Berlin Wall, and it gives me that 193. And getting back to our forest theme, 193 is the 44th prime number. All right. And to go even deeper, the Georgia Guidestones are also called Georgia's Stonehenge. You could see that right there in the first paragraph of the Georgia Guidestones Wikipedia article. And you see that 193 you get with the fall of the Berlin Wall. Well, Georgia's Stonehenge also equals 193 in the same cipher. Again, the 44th prime. And this 4th wall exploded at 4 a.m. And specifically, one of the things to take note of is the explosion happened at exactly 4:03:33. So at 3 minutes and 33 seconds into 4 a.m. Again, that's your 333. But this 4:03 a.m. is something to pay attention to, guys, because at the 403 is just the number 43. Of course, with the rules of numerology, you're removing that 0. So we've been talking a lot about this 43 this year because 43 is actually the 14th prime number. And that's how we were able to determine how the Super Bowl would go. And we talked a lot about that. So go back and watch those videos. And for any Patreon supporters, you'll be able to see the video that I did, a decode called the Shemitah Decoded, and we talked a lot about the number 43 and the number 14 and how they're tied together. But this explosion of the Georgia Guidestones happened at 4:03 a.m., which is, again, the number 43. And this is where I'll end this decode. If you take from this day the date of the explosion and you go over 4 months and 3 days, look at what date you get. From 4 months and 3 days from July 6th, the date of that explosion, you get November 9th, the 9/11 date, the fall of the Berlin Wall. This is a ritual, and it's pretty mind-blowing to see how this is all coming to fruition, because guess what this date will be for the fall of the Berlin Wall? It will be the 33rd year anniversary. They are telling us something. So remember, this event is going to be happening within days of the upcoming lunar eclipse. This eclipse is going to be very important. So 2 days after the November eclipse, you're going to have the 9/11 date. And this all ties into everything. So remember, Georgia Guidestones, the explosion happened at 4:03 a.m. That's 4:03, 4:03. Tied to the date of the explosion, you get November 9th, the 9/11. So I would love to know some of your guys' thoughts, because I believe that this eclipse that's going to happen on this date, the window around it, let's just call it the 7/11 date, all the way through probably 11/11, is going to be very powerful. So consider that, because even if you see right here, this date of November 10th, 2022 connected to this event would be 4 months and 4 days. That 44 coming back again, just like Georgia equals the 44. Just like Georgia's Stonehenge and the fall of the Berlin Wall equal 193, which is your 44th prime number. So that 4/4 date, where is it landing? The date Bitcoin hit its all-time high last year. 1110, which is the 111 in the 222 year. This date is very powerful because you could see right there, it's the 314th day of the year. The 3.14 is pi. So this will be coming full circle. I believe this time from the 7th up till the 11th is going to be a very powerful energy window. So some of you astrologers out there that are more savvy on that, perhaps share some of your ideas, some of your notes. I would love to know some of your thoughts regarding this. But again, coming back to this post that I made in Patreon, the Shemitah Wyckoff method tutorial, I go over exactly how I'm anticipating the end of the Shemitah to go and those 2 eclipses to come in October and November. It has everything to do with turning it into how this schematic is going to play out, leading through the end of Q4, moving into the year of 2023. And I believe this decode that I just shared with you today regarding this connection to the Georgia Guidestones and Stranger Things is a sign that they're getting us ready for something big. And they always give us this predictive programming ahead of time to prepare us accordingly. They got everyone focused on this thing that was happening with CERN. So you look there, but you don't look over here. And then what happened? We have mayhem going on in Amsterdam right now with farmers and potential food crisis looming, all the shit that's going on right now. And we have a movie that comes out that the trailer just came out. It was called Amsterdam. So perhaps we'll get into that on another video, but I'm just blown away how much stuff they're giving us right now to work with as decoders. An insane time. So just to quickly get into these charts, because we do see some bullish activity going on for Bitcoin. We have this chart over here showing us this little trap of lows and highs, and of course we have this resistance being potentially back tested as early as today, maybe even during this video, and we have this support line right here. So what's really important to remember is if Bitcoin maintains daily closes below this level of 21,500, the odds are we'll be trapped in this range. And given that we have the full moon about 5 days from now, remember, it's always a window of time. So when we have a bearish window, it's 5 days before up to 5 days after. Meaning if we have on the 13th, if we have the full moon on the 13th, we could be bearish coming into the 18th, 19th, 20th, and then recover out of there. We could even have something play out like this. So I could just draw this for you real quick. Let's say the breakout was confirmed, back tested, and then we actually had bullish up until the full moon and we back tested the neckline one more time. That would be a super ideal setup for something like that to happen. Even giving this like illusion of like some sort of head and shoulders in play with a comeback to the prior resistance, bounce, continuation. So that's your bullish bias. Bullish is essentially if you get daily closes above this level of 21,500, you could have your next level right here around 22,900, let's just call it 23,000. And then if you break through that area, it's thin air up until around 27, okay? And that would break you out of this firmament dome that's been in play for years. This firmament has been in play for years. So that's why I'm paying a lot of attention to that more experimental technical analysis, because I believe it is something to pay attention to when you see such a macro time frame playing out. Daily closes above this level, continuation up until 23, potentially even as high as the 27, and that would be breaking you out of that firmament. Then you have on the downside, maintaining closures at our level today. We see that the 8 simple moving average is actually holding us, and that could keep Bitcoin above 20,000. And if that kind of comes to fruition, I would assume that our 2-day close tonight might be telling us a little bit of that story as well. So with Bitcoin holding this level for today's 2-day close, could be holding 20K for the long term. And now if we break below this level, I assume we're going to be coming down into back at 18,800 again. So it's a range, it's trapped in that area, and that's what Bitcoin likes to do. It could essentially be trapped in this area sideways and make another leg down, trapped in this area sideways and make another leg down. The only thing about this next leg down approach idea is that to see Bitcoin coming into like the 13, 14K area, that would be more likely to happen at the end of Shemitah. And you could see this firmament actually comes down into 12K right around October. We have that eclipse in October, the late October timeframe, and another eclipse in early November. So that wouldn't be weird to me. Even if we broke out above this firmament in the short term and then came down on the outside, that'd be very similar to this chart that we have where we see the firmament was drawn on the outside. Sorry, the firmament was drawn accordingly and we started trading on the outside as supports. So you guys probably remember this in my last video. You can see this firmament was showing us a ton of resistance all around here into the pretty much like the summer of last year. Hits our all-time high, and then since this Q1, we broke out, and once we broke out, we started back testing the outside of this firmament perfectly. I mean, look at that. Perfect bounces. And every time we hit it, it was pretty big wick and then a sideways trading range. So here we are. We're kind of in that sideways trading range. And for those of you that, maybe have taken my courses, or you pay attention to patterns that I like to look at, we do have a W in play here. And that neckline is still what I said before. It's around 21.5. Breaking above that neckline would show you your measured move into what I was telling you before. Coming to the downside, 19,000 daily closes below that 19,300 area. You're probably going to swipe down into this 1618 territory, fill out that wick, and then see where it goes from there. So Ethereum is actually really getting close, butting up against the neckline. This could be within moments of breakout. So this is looking pretty good for ETH. But remember, every time Bitcoin sort of recovers, it's going to be a lot more dramatic for the altcoins. So ETH being the top contender, it's going to be pushing up a little bit more violently, a little bit more volatility. You have your neckline there around 1240. Once we get above that, measure move, you're probably coming up into the 1617. And that was something that I brought up before, how it is possible actually before the end of Shemitah for us to see ETH get into that 1617, even as high as 1900 one more time, somewhere around that 888 fib. That'd be ideal. And if you look at this fib pull, this is textbook. We have from that swing high from the swing low to the swing high. And this is a bearish fib retrace in log setting. So the log setting is on, and we perfectly came back to backtest that 1618, the golden ratio, on a wick, and have bounced since, just like we did with Bitcoin. This is pretty similar setup. And if we were to look at the weekly chart for Bitcoin and take off some of this nonsense and actually turn on our RSI, zoom out, we're seeing historically low RSI levels on the weekly chart. Like, this is the lowest RSI close we ever saw, and it was about about 2 weeks ago. So you can see we like to get to around 28, 27. Bitcoin's even closed a couple at 25. Since it's bounced, and we're sitting right now at the level of 29. So that's good. What we would like to see now on weekly RSI is probably getting back above that 35 level, but that's a ways away on weekly closes. So Bitcoin is essentially doing a repeat of this fractal right here. You have top, you have a sideways trading range, and then you have a break. That is where we're at right now. Right after that break, you see that little moment? That's right there. And we're probably within a similar time frame if we were to count. So if we took from this big red candle to this green candle, that recovery stage, 133 days, I assume we're going to be a slightly more extended. But look at where that brings us. That brings us to around late October, right into November. So for me to say that Bitcoin's going to go lower, I mean, it would be invalidating a lot of past analysis, but I am liking to prepare myself for that 13K 14K area just in case, because if we do come down to that level, it would be a technical move. We have that peak right there, and we have that little cluster of trading right there, and we have thin air between here and where we're trading today, besides the last all-time high. This is the first time Bitcoin's ever dug into the last all-time high blow off top after getting past it. So we're making a new structure, a structure we've never made before. Even with this double top thing, that adds to a new structure. So interesting times for sure. On ETH, we have that little W situation that I was talking about before, move up into the 17.4 range, and then daily closes below 10,000, or just call it 1,000, excuse me. Daily closes below 1,000, and I assume we'll have that wick fill to the bottom. And XRP, nothing new going on here. The one thing I can say is this W formation, you can see the neckline is actually in alignment with the prior support. So that would be somewhere around 38 cents. That's about all we can say right now. We have this wick right here filling up to 38 cents. We have this whole support horizontal trading range at 38 cents. We have that wick right there at 38 cents. And then we could see that whole, we could just confirm that as a beautiful neckline. I could actually put a sideways, a horizontal line right here just to make that easier for the visual. Okay, so again, struggling at this 32 cent level. That's what we had back here before another leg down. This does look like a W in the making though. So we just have to wait and see how this all shakes out. What I like with XRP is to see like 3-day, 5-day, so potential 5-day MACD cross bullish soon, but we're still so negative down there, and even the RSI sitting near oversold. So again, historically low, and that's going to be about 2 more trading days till we have the next 5-day closure. So plenty of stuff to just let chill. I actually wasn't even going to make a video today because the market is just so boring, but I wanted to come out and make this one to share that decode with everyone. I knew that it would be, a wild breakdown, especially connecting all these events: Berlin Wall, Georgia Guidestones, Stranger Things, coming up to the end of the Shemitah and the eclipses. Wow, big energy. And speaking about the number 21, Bitcoin trading around 21,000. Again, that is no surprise with Saturn being that 21 and the father of Bitcoin being Satoshi, always coming back. So it's going to be a very interesting week, and I hope you guys are doing well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, I have this new Shemitah Wyckoff method tutorial out. I have the last Red Pill podcast posted. I'll be doing tomorrow's Friday live stream. I'm excited to do that. I have a new podcast coming out soon with Donut Factory, so shout out to him and his channel. I'm excited to have that interview shared. And then, of course, this upcoming Sunday, I'll have a new Red Pill podcast out on Patreon. I appreciate all of your support. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Much love.